My name is Michael Williams, and I'm the writer, director, producer, and cinematographer behind Shendopen Productions. And this year, 2024, is Shendopen's 20th anniversary. I created Shendopen back in 2004 when I was in high school, just to create fun films with my friends and my youth group and my family, and just enlisted people to make crazy videos pre-YouTube, thankfully, and just explore this art form that I didn't know that I truly needed. Growing up and even as an adult, I've always had a hard time expressing myself with words. I have a bit of a stutter. Sometimes I talk too fast. Sometimes I forget to breathe and I run out of breath in the middle of a statement. And I realize speaking is not the best thing for me. I've gotten better at it, but my language has always been film, and I didn't realize that. I grew up watching Beetlejuice and very visual movies from very visual directors. I didn't realize that they were impacting me because they were showing me a language that I could use to express myself, which is something that I feel is very important for me as an artist and as a person. Especially over the last few years, I've worked really hard to work on my mental health and to grow as an artist and to become more present and grounded and more aware of myself and the stories that I want to tell and how I'm going to tell them. But in doing that, I realized that I really need to express myself and I have to do it visually. And film is the language that I understood even as a kid. And as soon as I started getting DVDs or they had special features on them, I realized, oh, films are made in this way, but it made sense. I understood the visual language of film. And as soon as I had a camera and started playing around with it, I realized that I could tell stories and I could express myself in that way because I either wasn't comfortable or didn't know how to express myself when I was younger, or I just didn't quite have the opportunity to say and express myself because of a lot of different reasons. But 20 years later, I've realized that that's all I've been doing with my career is expressing myself. Even when I'm working with other people and working on translating someone else's vision as a cinematographer or shooting a wedding video for a client or a commercial, I'm still expressing myself through different ways. And I'm expressing myself through the filter of their project. But I do it with my own projects as well. And I've learned over the last few years that the more authenticity I bring to a project, especially my own, the more impactful it's going to be. And that's where I think some of my films in the past have failed, was because I was hiding behind metaphors or things that I couldn't express explicitly because I wasn't authentically myself, or I was afraid to be, or I didn't know how to put it into words, or I was just trying to more so create my version of a film of some, filmmaker that I really admired. And so for the 20th anniversary of Shendopen, I decided it's time to finally rebrand and define Shendopen. Because once I created Shendopen and I started using that word, everyone would be like, what is Shendopen? What is this word? Well, ultimately it's a word that I made up because I couldn't understand a French phrase in a song by Enigma. And on this CD right here, it's the greatest hits album of Enigma, Love, Sensuality, and Devotion. There's a song on number track 13 called Mea Culpa. And in that song, there's a phrase in French that I misinterpreted and made it my own. And that is where Shendopen came from. So it's not spelled the way I spelled it, and it's not even remotely pronounced the same way. It's just the way that I interpret it. I'm a visual person, and phonetics are visual in my brain as well as music. It creates images, colors, and shapes and things. And so Shendopen just felt like something to me, and it meant something to me, even though I didn't know what it meant. But I knew it meant something. And for the last 20 years, I didn't know what Shendopen meant. I just knew that it was a word that I liked, and it was a word from my production company. But now for the 20th anniversary, I'm excited to finally define Shendopen. And Shendopen is intentional stories in motion. It is the stories that I have told and that I'm going to continue to tell. And the way I wanted to express that was with this symbol that I created, which is the new logo for Shendopen. I created it on the spring equinox earlier this year. It just came to me while I was doodling and drawing. Didn't even know that I was trying to come up with the logo for Shendopen. I was just playing around, but then I finally found it. And without further ado, here's the new logo and identity for Shendopen. So for me, this logo means a lot. It's something that finally defines this abstract word Shendopen and what I've always felt that it was. And to me, Shendopen is about storytelling. It's not just visual storytelling, but it's also emotional storytelling. And it's the intention that me and my collaborators put behind everything we do to create an opportunity for people to understand us and feel our self-expression through the films that we make. Because when I was younger, I realized the reason I love films was because they allowed me the outlet to feel, for me to experience things that I've never felt before. Titanic was such a pivotal moment for me when I saw that because I was in fifth grade. I had never felt love, I had never truly understood death or tragedy or trauma, but I could feel it through that movie. I could feel what these people went through. I could fall in love. I could have the loved one die. I could have all these things happen and me feel. And I remember when I saw that movie, my parents turned to me in the middle of the movie and said, "Do we need to leave?" Because I was crying for the entire last hour, hour and a half nonstop. But I was so invested emotionally. And I realized films can transport you places. Films can make you feel what other people are feeling. It's a path to empathy. It's a path to understanding. And that's what I've always wanted to do with my films. Yes, I want to entertain people, and there are some films that are made for pure entertainment. But a lot of my films, there's a message that I want to say. There's something I want to express. And that's what Shendopen is. Shendopen is intentional storytelling motivated by the passion that I have for storytelling and the messages I want to get across and the self-expression that I want to create. So the logo means that. It is a timeline on which all stories are. But the timeline is going to keep going unless someone illuminates one moment on that timeline. That vertical line is that story on that timeline that is soon going to be illuminated by a light, a dawning of a sun or a rising of a moon or the turning on of a light. Nothing you can see is possible unless there is a light source. And film is created through light and motion. And that's what Shendopen is. Shendopen is highlighting a moment on a timeline, illuminating it for other people to see. And every film that I've done before is a different vertical line on the same timeline. And every film that you see from now on is going to be another line illuminated for that moment for you to experience. Shendopen's future is even more authentic storytelling than I've ever been able to do before. It's because now I know myself better than I ever have. I know my voice as a storyteller, and I'm working on it every day to become a better version of myself, but also a more inspired version. Because prior to 2020, I was very burnt out with how much I was working and how hard I was trying to make strides in my career, make a living, and just navigate life. But I realized that I was burning out and I was falling. My timeline was falling down deep, and was so far from the light that I needed to be able to tell my stories that I've had to regain it. So for the last 4 years, while I've been pushing and I've been working and I've been trying to write and get my films produced, it's been really difficult. But with the 20th anniversary and where I am now personally, I know that I'm ready. I'm actually rewriting every script that I've been pushing the last few years because I know I can tell them better than I ever have. And I'm ready to do them. And what that means is Shendopen's going to create movies that are bigger and better than you've ever seen come out of Shendopen. And I want to do that not just for myself, but for my collaborators who I want to have a good experience on the set and who to be paid well and to be able to do their best creatively, but also for the local communities and the places where I film. I want to have the resources and the money to do it right, to do it respectfully, and to do it sustainably. So in the future, we can continue to make movies here in Mississippi and in the region and make films that are truly impactful, not just for the audiences, but for those involved. And I've always tried to do that with Shendopen, but I haven't always had the resources. But moving forward, that's a goal of mine. And with the rebrand, Shendopen is pushing forward with bigger, better stories, more impactful, more authentic stories, and more opportunities to collaborate with other storytellers through commercial production, music videos, social media content, and even doing script services. I really enjoy working with writers to assess their scripts and to help them hone their creative vision and fill in the gaps, or work as a ghostwriter or a collaborator to push it to the next level. And so if that's you, be sure to reach out to me if you need help with a script, a commercial, or anything like that, because Shendopen is still a business, and Shendopen's new services are now on their website, and I'm going to be pushing forward in that direction. But I love any opportunity to tell a story visually, whether it's for a client, for myself, or for a collaborator. So Shendopen's going to push forward with new services and opportunities to tell other people's stories, but also more opportunities for me to tell my stories and to share them with the world. And I want to thank everyone who's been with me and supported Shendopen, either through just as a passive viewer or an active client, someone who's paid the bills for me for 20 years, whether it was doing wedding videos or VHS transfers or whatever I've done over the last 20 years to keep this business going and to keep myself afloat and to be the creative that I need to be. I really, really appreciate it because I couldn't do this without the support of everyone who supported me. And, excuse me, and I just want every filmmaker in the world, and I want every creative in the world to know that they can do this. And it's not easy, but it really is something you can do with the support of people who believe in you. and the people who support you and the people who love the stories and the things that you have to say. And I'm very fortunate that there's been hundreds of people over my last 20 years in my career who have supported me and made that possible, whether it's collaborators or, financiers or donors or just clients or just fans. And I really appreciate all of you. And I hope you're as excited as I am with what the future of Shendopen will be, because I cannot wait to share the stories that I'm working on, but I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to do it efficiently, and I'm going to do it sustainably. And that's what's next for Shendopen. So be sure to follow along with me on my social media, but also Shendopen's social media. There's a new Instagram account just for Shendopen, YouTube channel. But you can also more actively support me through Patreon. It's just $5 a month if you'd like to support. And I post content there that's very candid. And I've been talking about the rebrand and released this logo months ago on Patreon because I share what I'm working on there. And I'm going to be doing it more as I push forward with my new projects. So stay tuned both on Patreon and my social media for 20-year celebration content where we go retrospectively back through the last 20 years of Shendopen and unearth some things from the archive and talk about what it means for the past and the future of Shendopen. And thank you again just for your support, and probably rambling now because I got a little emotional and that threw me for a loop. So anyway, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching this video, and be sure to check out Shendopen.com to see all the ways that Shendopen has evolved into this new era, but also be sure to stay tuned for more content as I release it over the next few weeks, months, to celebrate the 20th anniversary. So thank you so much. And remember, stories are worth telling, not just mine. So if you have a storyteller in your life, support them. And let's just make the world a better place through telling authentic stories intentionally. Thank you.